Yesterday in my opening comments, I said I doubt that my team is putting me in all the tough spots. Today, this is confirmed, right? Jaspreet said yesterday that the session before the drinks is the toughest. And Vijay, if you have a different point of view, you debate with Jaspreet. But I am right now in a spot where we are holding the audience in between drinks. But
very powerful, do you realize?
yeah, but they'll vanish very soon. But anyways, luckily on my side, and I think one more dimension other than the fact that they represent great organizations, all three of them. All three of them also, through their multiple experiences, reflects. Right now, at least from their roles perspective, reflect different functions. Sanjeev, of course, is the global head of business operations for Wipro. Lokendra, Loki is what we'll call him. He heads HR. And then we have Venkat from Schneider, who heads strategy and sustainability. So I think we will have that diversity of experiences and point of view from each one of them. But what we quickly wanted to do, Venkat, Sanjeev, Loki is, as the session is titled, it's basically leadership reflections on the theme, right? So the theme is talent before technology. And I think what we wanted to achieve is really hear from leaders your point of view in terms of, clearly, and we've been talking about this, that, talent before technology, and, there is a slight friction, there is a dilemma between choices that the organizations make, and, how do they prioritize, how do they make choices. And what we really wanted to hear from, in your experiences, whether in current organization or previous organizations, as to how you've seen organization making choices, how do they balance between choices. It'll really help if you can share real examples, anecdotes, including, and I will urge, including examples where, probably, choices have gone wrong, right? Or, organizations have faced challenges. Sanjeev, can I request you to start?
Hi, first of all, thank you, Bimal and team, for inviting me. My first time at this event, and I'm so happy. Though I lead business operations, to me this is very dear, and I'll explain you why. But first, coming to the talent before technology, I kind of thought about it. It seemed to me like a chicken and egg story, right? What came first? Now, I am born before Google, and there is a now generation which is completely born digital. We call them digital natives. So I don't know whether I as a talent came first or technology came later, or did I adapt to technology. Wipro as a company came in existence 75 years or pre-independence as a vegetable oil company. Now it's a technology company. So I think, to me, the point I'm trying to make on talent before technologies, I think it's not either or. I think it's both have to coexist. And technology evolves, talent has to keep evolving. We keep hearing that the best of the technology first comes in the Bay Area, then comes to India, then goes to tier 3 and tier 4 towns. It doesn't mean that talent came later or talent came first. Maybe in a particular geography, I think there are, or in a particular function, there's a talent working on evolving technology. These are the researchers, these are the scientists who are evolving it in labs. And there are users or applications, use cases are being created elsewhere. So I think both have to coexist on an ongoing basis. That's my view on talent before technology. Now, in terms of the choice enterprises must make, in my experience, I have seen over the last 30 years, whichever industry, I'm a mechanical engineer, worked in shop floor. I was happy with the discussion about the automobile shop floor. I've lived that life as an industrial engineer. I moved on to technology industry over the last 20, 25 years. And to me, one thing I've realized is the common denominator is skill. It's the skill. When in late 90s, when India witnessed the boom, right? And maybe it was because of Y2K and because of the BPO industry it started. For us, English speaking was a skill, right? We used to teach English speaking classes, and we used to have contextual skilling, which was very important. Now it's all about, many other languages apart from English that we do in technology. And why am I saying this? Because I feel that skill is the currency. And that's what we have been pushing extremely hard in Wipro right now. When you say currency, what does currency mean? Currency means, you imagine yourself, right? Currency means what you earn, what you spend, what is in your bank balance. I think we need to get that headset. And that's what I say when the choice enterprise must make. If you say that skill is the currency, you're actually having a seat on the table in the boardroom. Because you're talking currency, you're not talking learning hours, you're not talking of number of learning pathways, you're not talking anything else, you're talking currency. And how do you translate that into currency is, frankly, I think it's for us as the L&D community to start thinking what we do, how does it result in the currency. For example, in Wipro, what I've been pushing, and my team is here, one is, do we know in terms of your employee base, Wipro is 250,000 people globally. Do I know what is my skill inventory? When I say what is my skill inventory, do I know how many people have what skills? And for those skills, what is my rate card? Isn't it? I think in IT industry, we are actually selling. We are selling solutions, we are selling skills. What's the rate card of my skill? In automobile industry, everyone knows in your store what parts are lying and what's the cost price of the part and what is the selling price of the part. When it comes to technology or services industry, we somehow, being more knowledgeable, start ignoring some basic things that manufacturing can teach us. So in terms of what is my rate card of the inventory that I have, what skills am I selling? Right? We all have the demand, right? You get demand in terms of client needs 30 people. I know Stellantis has been a very demanding customer for us. So is Schneider Electric. They want so many people at a short notice, all ready and trained. That's the market reality. But then do we have those skills in our inventory? Do we have the rate card for those skills? Yeah, so rate card of the skills. Which are the skills which are short and therefore I can command high premium? See what happens when the fuel is in short supply, the fuel price goes up. Natural demand supply economics at work. Again, as businessmen, we need to say that if a particular skill is not available easily, we don't have to sell it cheap. We have to put a premium on that skill and really help the business make money by getting premium on the skills that are in demand. So I hope I'm making the point to you. The point is basically, how do you convert your role as being a business doer, not an enabler, not a support function, as a doer, working with the business teams on the sales side and helping them realize revenue, and on the margin side with the delivery teams, helping them to realize the margins. I think that too is the mantra that I have seen, Bimal, over a period of time across industries.
Thanks for that. Venkat, if I can request you to come in and you drive both strategy and sustainability, and just your experiences and reflection on this.
Right. So first of all, good evening, and I know I'm very sensitive about the fact that it's me who's holding you and the beautiful Goa sunset. So I will try to be very precise and to the point. I completely agree with what Sanjeev has said. For me, I think talent precedes everything in the organization. Why I say that? Been with Schneider for more than 2 decades. And what is Schneider? Basically, Schneider is a company which is in the business of solving sustainability and efficiency problems for customers. So we are basically a problem solver for sustainability and efficiency. And these are wicked problems. What I mean by wicked problems is that a problem which is highly interconnected, always in flux, and is dynamic. The moment you get a sense that, hey, I identified the problem, it changes, it evolves. That is a wicked problem. Sustainability, climate change are such problems. And Schneider is in the business of solving these problems. By the way, in doing so, well leverage technology. Technology is just a tool. Like a doctor, you go to a doctor, you have a very experienced doctor, they have best of the tools, and those tools really help the doctor to be more impactful. Versus the other way, you have the best tools, but the doctor is average, not knowledgeable, you see what is the outcome and whether you'll go to such doctor or not. So I feel talent and anything and everything associated with talent, skills, engagement, growth, all those things that make talent really perform, create impact, and thrive is, I think, takes the precedence over technology. That's my experience. And again, going back to this whole space of sustainability, look at this. This planet is about 4.56 billion years old. And if I kind of squeeze the entire lifespan of this planet of 4.56 billion years into a 24-hour format, Human beings came on the scene after 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 57 seconds, right? We just arrived. And since the beginning of Industrial Revolution, 1815, 1750s, is where we see the whole problem of overconsumption. And actually, it went on to the next level since the beginning of 19th century. So this is a problem created by humans. This is a problem created by all of us, right? And perhaps we understand this problem, or we should try to understand this problem, and the other enablers of technology, science, the laws of nature, they are all perhaps available to us to solve this problem. We talked very interesting facts about India in the previous panel. Just one or 2 points, again, through the lens of sustainability. India is home to 18% of world's population. Every 1 out of 6 human on this planet is Indian. And what happens to this huge population? This huge population resides on just about 2.4% of the total available land of the planet, and just 4% of water, fresh water. I come from Bangalore, and Bangalore is in the news these days. I think it's a matter of time, even other cities will go through the same situation. The way we are continuing, perhaps 52% of world population will face water crisis. So more than ever, I think India has to have a very, very strong, let's say, contribution on sustainable development. We talked about a big Indian growth of second, third GDP, maybe, I don't know, by the turn of this century, maybe even double our GDP. All those things is coming our way. I feel the journey of development of India is going to pass through the road of sustainability. India will first get more and more sustainable. India will first get more and more decarbonized before it gets developed. So all in all, to make this happen, I think it is the skill, the talent, and anything and everything to do with people is super critical. Technology follows. So that's my take, Bimal.
So now the HR view. So look, I think talent creates technology, and technology is for talent. So I don't see a difference when I say before, after. Personally, I think it's with. Talent with technology gets enhanced, and technology continues to improve when really talent works on that. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship. I would not avoid one of the two. I think both are existing for each other's help. That's one. Now coming to, I'll give an example. I'll keep it very simple on how technology helped talent in my HR organization. So as my role, I lead HR for India as well as our GDN centers across Europe and APAC. And I also manage global HR shared services for us. So one of the things that when I took over 5 years back in DXC, the feedback from our employees was that HR is never available. And from HR perspective, I'm sure if there are HR people here, it's not something new they would have heard. HR is never available. Second is, when we reach out to them, they don't have the right answers. And from HR perspective, we are short-staffed. I don't have time. And it was a lovely relationship. And we had about 550 people globally in HR shared services. Even in India and some of the centers, we had our own HR business partners, etc. So one of the things we did at that point in time, and it's just about 4 years ago that I'm saying, we leveraged technology to the fullest. So one of the things we did was, have an AI solution-based query system, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 approach for our HR shared services on how to address queries. It did few things immediately. Number one, the HR became available suddenly 24/7 because there's a technology solution. Second, it drove the right behavior. Earlier, people were reaching to a person, and a person has limitations of his or her knowledge. They can only respond to what they know. But a system has entire repository of what it is. The system can answer the right question. Third, the system can identify you. So when I logged in, The system knew that I am sitting in Canada. When I'm asking for a question, the local labor laws or my leave balance is based on that, and today is a holiday is based on the Canadian calendar, not on Indian calendar. So suddenly the accuracy of my response went up big time. Now let me tell you the other side of it. What happens to the HR team? And look, for us, we did that because we genuinely believe that HR's job is not to solve queries. Our job is to help people build their careers. Our job is to help you advise on how you can grow in the organization, on to grow you really. So a lot of our people who were spending their time on, I call it mundane things, now were able to spend time on really coaching our employees. But in here comes some of the challenges. So in the beginning, every HR person was excited. Wow, finally, I'm liberated. I don't have to answer these queries like what is my leave balance and when can I go on leave or my medical bills, blah, blah, blah. Now I am talking to people about what kind of training should I be getting, right? How can I go up a ladder in my career? But sometime we also have to realize a lot of people who really thought that they wanted to be strategic, many of them did not have the capability to be strategic. A lot of times we aspire for something higher in our careers without realizing our own limitations. So what happened as part of that, a fair amount of people actually became strategic and grew their stature and the roles, but a fair amount of people actually had to regress back and go to other organizations and join the same job back that they despise. But some of them are doing it happily now because now they realize that is what they were meant for. So I think the beauty of technology in all of this was technology was at best an enabler. It was driven by the talent. It was driven very clearly to say we are driving it through derive a benefit. It was for our employees. In the beginning, even employees revolted. Why can't I talk to a person? Why am I having to log in and ask a question? That's the first mindset change, because change management is never easy. But when they realize actually that this can do more solution, let me give you some real artifacts now. We used to have about 6,000 plus queries in the beginning to the system. And system, when I say, we had a call center actually, wherein there were people who were receiving the calls. So 6,000 plus queries. Literally within a year, the queries went down to 2,000 from 6,000. Because people were now logging in and getting their own answers directly. They actually felt it was easier. And remember, this is a Google generation, as we just heard. My son and a couple of his friends are far more handy on the phone and typing rather than talking to an agent. I'm exactly opposite. On the bank, I don't mind talking to an agent even if I have to wait for 5 minutes compared to him. And I think that's what we have to understand the employee demographics as well. And then we realized that in the beginning, what was an issue for our employees actually became the biggest selling point. And because of that, I used to run a 24/7 shift of agents. Today, that is just 8 hours for across the globe. So nobody has to work a graveyard shift anymore. And the system is doing it 24/7. And thanks to that, most of our agents were able to deepen their knowledge, and they were able to upskill to become either a tier 2 agent, which is really the process, that they became HR process experts rather than just solving queries. So look, I think just to summarize this, technology helped us became what we wanted to be. It was an enabler for us. For people, it was a huge change management. Sometimes the consequences are people hope that technology will change everybody's life for better, which I also genuinely like to believe. But people who are not able to adapt with the new ways and new system and the new change, they end up regressing back And that's what people say. Either you're working with AI or technology, or you are actually, the train has left the station. So for those people, they will always be at the risk of losing jobs.
Thanks. I'm going to push my luck a little on the second part of my question, and happy to have those anecdotes from any one of you, which is, I'm sure there are many, many success stories, right? And we've heard over the last 1.5 days many, many success stories. But I'm sure, journey is not as easy, right? Neither linear. And I'll be very happy from any one of you to hear anecdotes in the context of the discussion that we are having, where any anecdote about where choices have gone wrong, right? Or you faced significant challenges at an organization level. Any one of you want to share those experiences? Happy to do that. Venkat, you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah. So, very interesting insights. I will talk about one example. See, what happens is I've been in sales, and some of you, I think my colleague Bhagwati Prasad also was in sales. Some of you who are in sales, the life of salesperson, right? They're always out meeting customers, and on the go, they have to do a lot of things, right? So one constant for any salesperson life is travel. So they have to travel from one place to the other. So you meet a lot of expenses, fuel expenses, food expenses, stationery expenses, a lot of those things. So when I was in sales many years back, we had to collect all the bills, keep it in a nice place so that you don't lose. If you lose money, right? And then perhaps once in 10 days, you kind of put it together. You have a template to fill and list all your expenses and courier it to your branch office or head office for it to get paid. The whole cycle used to be very tedious, used to take time, and we were forced to do it. Later, the whole technology intervention started coming in. You can scan it and upload it. Then they said, no, now we have an app. You can use the app on the go, you scan it and upload it. Frankly, we realized none of these things are very effective. The salesperson's time and the salesperson's skill is very, very vital asset of an organization. So what we said is, let's get rid of all these technology interventions, phone, app, scanning. Let's get rid of this. What we did was, we started giving them a cash card. The cash card is loaded, let's say 10,000, and we give it to them, and they can swipe the card for all their sales-related expenses. They don't have to go back, take the trouble of collecting the bills, scanning, uploading, settling, nothing of those things. You just use the cash card. And this is completely on the trust and empowerment that we have on our salespeople. So here is the example where seemingly technology was kind of the solution, but perhaps it was not. The way people behave, the way people kind of use their time. So we kind of moved to the other side of giving a cash card. I mean, cash card is also one kind of technology for sure. But again, the enablement of the culture of trust, empowerment is very, very essential. Of course, there are instances where the cash card has been swiped for some other wrong expenses, which are not under the typical sales expenses, but these things we will overcome. But this is how we look at that. One example which worked very well, second example, sorry. We as a company, we were very clear, and we had the ambition of reducing the pay parity less than 1% by 2025. And we announced in 2020, 2019, and we are really struggling worldwide, more than 100 countries. And it's not really gender specific. In France, you find women being paid more than men. In India, we find men being paid more than women for the same kind of roles. So we were really struggling to see the needle moves on this. And what we did was, we created a very, very basic, not very high-tech, not those AIs and all, a very simple macro Excel-based pay gap simulator. And we made it a process. Any hire we do, please assess the CTC on the simulator. Any role change employees are kind of coming their way, please assess the CTC on this simulator. And this became very, very widely used in the organization, and the needle started moving. This is 2023, and we are already at 1% globally so far as pay parity is concerned. And in India, it is less than 1%. So these two examples were a very basic technology which kind of helped to change the behavior and get the things moving. The other example, the traditional, the tech that we thought is not working, and we kind of moved to something substitute. So these are two examples.
Yeah, I can share two examples. One is I'm a bit critical about the IT industry because I've also worked in manufacturing industry. If I had not worked in manufacturing, I would not have understood the best practices. See, in technology industry, despite all the knowledge we have, despite all that we say that careers are built over years, career is a marathon, not a sprint, but we expect a fresher from the college to be ready day one. Yeah, I just don't get it. And as an IT industry, I think Wipro included, we have hired tens and thousands of freshers from the campus, and we applied whatever psychometric test and aptitude and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we hired them and we put them in a training class for 8 to 12 weeks. And after 8 to 12 weeks, half of them we say are not ready. They don't have the competence and they go on bench. And when they go on bench, naturally, no one joins a company to go on a bench, and that starts. So to me, I think it has been a complete failure on in my thinking of our company and the technology industry overall to have these unrealistic expectations of freshers coming and delivering what experienced people can. In the engineering days, when I joined out of my college, I was a graduate engineer trainee for a 12 to 18 month period subject to probation if I had not done well and given a second chance and all that stuff, right? I think we don't invest in that. So I think what we have started doing now is we are completely reimagining the journey of the fresher. What we will do now is we are going to universities, giving them curriculum. National education policy has helped get 16 credits as part of third and fourth year. So giving a curriculum, if students take those subjects which are given by us, giving internships, opportunities, coming and working with us, it's not necessary they should join Wipro. We want them to be industry ready, skill ready. And if they feel they are good and we are good, and that dating process in the internship time helps each other know better, and then I think they join, and I think then they join not for a training class because we are disbanding the training class. I know my learning team was very upset when last year when I joined, the first thing I said, the only thing you're doing is after 12 weeks telling half of the people we hired are bad, right? I think that assessment had become so painful that the focus was more on what people don't know versus what they know. Yeah, I think so. That's a big shift for us in terms of reimagining how we will go ahead and take the freshers. Therefore, what we are doing that is telling our learning teams to treat employee as the customer. I think Anand Deshpande spoke about it. I was very happy about it. When you say employee as the customer, you need to do KYC, right? Know your customer. And each customer is unique, which means a fresher has a different need, an experienced employee has a different need. And we know that learning is an ongoing journey. So for example, people who have spent 2 or 3 years, of course, they will go through skilling, upskilling, etc. But they have, right, if you want to skill, you want to be associated with a university, right? To me, by default, when you ask me my education, it reminds me of my university college days. So you have to give them a feeling. Either you create that university within the company, where what we are doing is we have some big accounts, say Stellantis, Schneider. We are creating Stellantis Academy, Schneider Academy, UHG Academy, right? Create a feeling of a university within the company or tie up with universities. Like we recently tied up with Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore for providing online MTech for our experienced talent who could not do a post-graduation. So I think one is find ways where you can engage employees on constantly upskilling, because we say it's a marathon, it's an ongoing journey. So better give it with actions, right? No point in just talking about it. That's the first big thing which I wanted to talk about. The second thing is a lot of times skilling teams, learning teams, wait for someone to tell what to be trained on or some people to show up. I think I would say that the learning teams, and that's what I keep telling our teams, one is we should be fortunate that we should think we are like Goddess Saraswati. Goddess Saraswati stands for knowledge. So the learning team has to first of all position themselves as we are here providers of knowledge. And then we know employee as the customer, so we know what it is. Therefore, what they would be doing is, and my previous speaker from GOBP spoke very well about rotation, right? We in the technology industry do not do a good job of employee rotation. The managers love people so much that they would like them to retire along with them, right? I think that's what happens. So, but I think what we want to push is after every 2 to 3 years, employees rotate. That is where my learning team should come in and help identify people who have completed 2.5 years. To me, that's an attrition risk as well. Work with them on their skilling requirements, find their next roles for them, and help them move on to their next roles. So what it means is learning team has to start owning rotation target. which they don't have a clue. But to me, that giving that target helps move them in a direction which is driving them better towards an employee and a business outcome. Second thing, what we are doing is leveraging AI. I think we all spoke about AI. Again, my favorite example of AI is Shadi.com, right? There are brides and grooms and people figure out. And in our industry, there are jobs and there are people. And then we have a whole set of middlemen in between, right? You call them workforce management, talent supply chain, skilling, HR, vagara, vagara, vagara. So my thought is have an AI system, which we are actually implementing. We have done the phase 1. Have all the jobs posted, have all the profiles of the employees updated, and let AI do the matching. You put whatever guardrails you want. You should have completed 2 years in the role, this location, whatever, and let the AI throw the matches. And when the matches go to the employee, they should be able to click a button and apply for the job. The person naturally who has to release would be very uncomfortable. Give them 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks to release that person. So I think what I'm trying to say is remove this middleman using AI, democratize the process, use the AI so that we can all focus on the strategic work than the transactional work. Thank you.
Okay, last word to you from HR or more specifically learning perspective, since that's a sub-function.
I will stay with my previous example on what did not go right, which is what your question was. Look, what I said in the end was a 3 year journey and everything came out really well. But when we did not get the right knowledge articles, the information for different 40 countries had to provide all the information. And when you don't get that information, people think the system is not working well. So the question was about this system does not work, scrap it. Old system was better where I could call an HR employee. So I think look in any be it AI, be it technology system, what goes in is what you really get out. So the whole cultural journey of getting to the entire information is very important. Some of the European countries, I had the issue of HR people not parting away with the information because their jobs were tied to that information. Because in their mind, the day I gave my information, it goes into the system, nobody's going to come to me for a query, and hence I'm redundant. So suddenly what happens is the same, we are all talking about lovely things about a system, but there are enough players in the system who don't want a system to actually flourish. And that's what we all have to be aware of. That's what we all have to know, that what can make a system go wrong. And sometimes, as I would love to say, like in the morning, maybe yesterday we heard about the 90 days thing from you. And I would love to say that some of that system could actually get out to the organization in 90 days. But sometimes they take a year or plus because there are enough naysayers who don't want the system to go. And hence there is also a tussle between talent and technology. And that is what we really have to pass.
No, that's actually a great ending point. And just to summarize, Venkat spoke about a fancy tech of that sales claim app or whatever that was not working. Sanjeev speaking about the fact that the expectations, right, were probably mismatched. And then you're talking about that tech is working, but people don't want to adopt tech, right? So those are different dimensions of all the challenges which shown up. I think great end to the leadership reflection session and the day. And I'm assuming and hoping that there are no questions because I don't want to keep myself waiting from the drinks. Yeah.
Thank you. Please present that token of our gratitude. Thank you.